Hey guys, Nick here from Nick's Taxes, and in today's video, we're going to talk all about DRIPs. We're going to talk about how you can use a DRIP to gain compounding interest on your investments. We're going to talk about the advantages and how you can qualify for a DRIP. So stay tuned. So a DRIP stands for a Dividend Reinvestment Plan. It's essentially when you earn enough money in dividends to buy another share of that company or ETF. So when a stock or ETF issues a dividend, instead of earning cash, you'll earn another share. So when a stock or ETF issues a dividend, instead of receiving cash, you'll use your cash to automatically repurchase another share in the company. It's essentially reinvesting your profits back into that stock or ETF. Now, I want to point out that this is an automatic transaction. So once those dividends are issued and you receive that money, you will automatically purchase another share, and by doing so, you'll save on commission fees. If you just take the cash and then reinvest it into the company yourself, you'll be stuck paying that commission fee if you have it with your broker. So setting up a DRIP is very important. So to set up your investments on Autopilot using a DRIP, if you're investing in a broker like Questrade, you'll have to download a DRIP form, fill that out, and then upload that back to the Questrade account. Now, if you are like me and you use RBC, most stocks that you invest in have DRIPs automatically applied. So if you have enough money in dividends, they will automatically resort to a DRIP rather than the other way around. So the best way to talk about this further is to look at a practical example. So for today's video, we'll look at one of the best dividend paying stocks in Canada, and that's BMO, Bank of Montreal. Now, BMO literally hasn't missed a dividend payment in over 100 years, and they have a consistent record of consistently increasing their dividends. As of today, the dividend share price is $69.39. Their last dividend was paid on May 26th, and their dividend was $1.06 per share. Now, BMO is one of the companies that pays dividends on a quarterly basis, which is every 3 months. Now, let's say, for example, I own 70 shares in BMO. At the current share price, my current investment would be worth $4,857. On the dividend payment date, for each share I own, I would earn $1.06. So with every dividend payment, I would earn over $74 in dividends. Typically, you receive that money in cash, and once you have that cash, you can do whatever you want with it. But with a DRIP, they will use part of that money to automatically repurchase a share. So in my case, I'm earning $74 in dividends, yet the share price is $69. Therefore, I will automatically purchase another share and get the remaining $4 left over in cash. Now again, this happens automatically for me, and I save on any commission fees. Now it's nice because in the next quarter, I'll have even more shares, which will mean I'll earn even more in dividends, because the next quarter I'll have 71 shares of BMO. I'll be getting 4 new shares each year. Now let's dive into my Excel and take a look at just how valuable it is to have a DRIP versus keeping your money on the sidelines in cash. Okay, so here's our Excel sheet where we look at how valuable it is to have a DRIP. Now for this example, I'm going to assume that the dividend payout of $1.06 is going to be constant, and the price share of $69.39 will remain constant as well. But chances are it will fluctuate. I'm also not going to take into consideration any taxes. So everything going into the account is just being reinvested from the DRIP. So here we have our dividend payouts, BMO's each quarter. So I just assumed every 3 months. And there's my shares. I'm starting with 70 and looking at my dividend amount, how much I'll be qualified for a DRIP, as well as the cash I'll have left over. So as we said earlier, I'm going to get $74, which means I get 1 share via the DRIP plan and then $4.81 left over. So now my total value of the investment is a little over $4,900. Now eventually I'm going to earn enough money here. You can see I end up with 1 share for quite a bit of time, but eventually I'll get to the point where I'll start earning 2 shares per dividend payout, and that comes in 2035, so 15 years down the road. I'll start earning 2 shares. So now for every payout, I'll get 2 new shares with every dividend payout, and then eventually I'll get 3 shares. And you can see that I earn 3 shares a lot quicker than it took me to earn 2 shares, and that's because our investments are compounding. So it's going to be faster. And this example goes over the course of 22 years. I just stopped it at 2044, but this can continue for a lot longer, and we can continue to earn a lot more in investments. So that is the DRIP. Now let's take a look at our cash out option. So it's the same thing, except now instead of reinvesting our dividends, reinvesting our dividends back into the account, we'll just take it as cash. So the same thing applies. In the first few years, the difference isn't a whole lot, but once you kind of start rolling down the list here, you'll notice that the DRIP becomes a lot more valuable. So I'm scrolling down to the bottom here, and at the end of it we end up with just over $12,200. And if you look at what we had with the DRIP, we had over $18,000. So that's a $6,000 difference, and that might not sound like a lot, but it is when you're considering what our starting investment was over the course of 22 years. Now this doesn't consider any other type of additional reinvesting, but often you'll see these numbers really explode when you're dealing with a larger investment over 30-40 years rather than a small 70 share investment over 22 years. You'll see those numbers increase that much more. So there you have it. That is my DRIP calculation via Excel, and now you can see just how valuable it is to use the DRIP. And while these numbers look nice, it's also important to note that I assume that the dividend payout and the share price remain constant throughout that entire time. Now, if you're investing in good quality companies like a BMO, the odds are that the share price and the dividend payout price will continue to increase over time, which will earn you even more money. The other nice thing from a tax perspective, being a tax accountant, if you own these stocks within a TFSA or an RSP, all this income is tax-free. Or if you don't have it in a TFSA or RSP and you just have it in a non-registered account, you are taxed on the dividends. However, you are taxed at a more preferred rate compared to employment income. I talk about how dividends are taxed in my Canadian tax video that you can watch here. It's a quick nix taxes tip on dividends. If you're looking here on TMX, you'll see the whole dividend page, and there's a couple different things that you need to know about the dividends and the dates and whatnot. So the 2 main dates that I want you to know about are the dividend X date and the dividend payment date. So the dividend payment date is what you'd expect. It's when the dividend actually gets paid. The dividend X date is the cutoff date to qualify for the dividends. So at some point they'll make an announcement, which is the dividend announcement date, and they'll say, we are going to be issuing a dividend on this date. Anyone who owns stocks in our company up to end of day this day will earn our dividends, which will get paid out later. Therefore, if you do know a dividend's coming and you want to put more money into that company, you need to do so before that dividend X date. Otherwise, you won't be eligible for dividends until the next dividend payment date. So X date and payment date are the 2 main ones you want to look at, specifically the X date. Make sure you have your shares in before that X date if you're looking at investing more in that company or starting a new investment with said company. And this is the best way to have your investments grow on autopilot. And I think right now, given the whole world situation, there's a lot of good quality stocks that are being sold at a discount. So if you look at a stock like BMO, I believe it's currently undervalued, and with it being undervalued and taking a hit like it has in the last few months, the dividend yield is really attractive. So as long as they continue to pay out the dividends at the current rates, you will get tremendous value compared to what you could have gotten 4 or 5 months ago. So dividend drips are a fantastic thing, and right now is the perfect time to start looking at great dividend stocks and ETFs, because there's a ton of value out there right now. And once things kind of get back to normal, I suspect a lot of these companies are going to appreciate and go back to the values that they were back in January. So you'll be able to not only get some good dividends at a good dividend yield percentage, you'll also see some nice capital gain appreciation. So that's it. That's everything you need to know about dividend drips. I'm Nick from Nick's Taxes. Thanks so much for watching. If you got value out of this video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. I'm going to be talking more about investments and dividends in some upcoming videos. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys later. Cheers.